Okay, guys, we are about to start. Please, an applause. Okay, hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to have you all here today. Thank you for showing up, and I promise it will make it worth your while. My name is Emilia Bogdanovic, and I'm a first-year PPE student, and I will be the moderator of this amazing presidential debate today. And thank you for coming because you're actually contributing to the development of the PP society. Hello, welcome. And yeah, we are in front, I'm speaking on the behalf of the Debate Union and more about that later on, but it's a really cool student club, debating club that you should definitely check out because it's one of the rare clubs within FSV UK that deals, and within our program that deals with the study of our studies. So more about that later, but now let's get to the debate. Before we get to debating and before I give the floor to our candidates, I will first of all just get you familiar with the general conduct that we've from the debate union prepared to make sure this is a respectful and safe space for everybody. So first of all, first rule, respectful discourse. Candidates must engage respectfully, refraining from personal attacks, insults, or inappropriate language. Second, no interruptions. Candidates must allow each other to speak without interruptions. The moderator will enforce speaking time. Third, stay on topic. Responses should directly address the questions asked, so try to avoid unnecessary digressions, debaters. Fourth, fact-based arguments. Candidates should strive for accuracy and avoid knowingly spreading misinformation. So now these were more concerning the debaters. Now, as from your side, from the audience side, candidates must answer audience-submitted questions respectfully and thoughtfully. No disruptions from the audience. Audience members must remain silent during responses, except for applauses at designated moments. And then the last one is no offensive or irrelevant questions, meaning questions must be respectful, issue forced, and relevant to the debate. Inappropriate questions will be dismissed. Okay, so let me just go through the agenda and what we're going to be doing here. So I, the moderator, will be asking them four questions each. And since this is not really like a clear-cut division, we don't really have like a clear-cut division timeline for this all. So it shouldn't be more than 5 minutes per team. So I'll keep track of time because we do have 4 questions from my side, and then from your side we have questions as well, and then we have questions from MS Teams, and we have Dr. Petr Specian with us as well. And then in the end, because we don't have much time, there will be 1 question posed per each team to another team. If the time allows, we could maybe do 2, but let's keep it this way. And then in the end, we'll have the concluding statements, and then in the end, if you didn't already take the snacks, you can serve yourselves. And I really hope that you enjoy this debate, and I look forward to it. Applause, please. Okay, so the way that I'll be asking them questions is the order in which they submitted videos, so to ensure fairness. So Maksym and Taishi first, then Sophie and Liz, and then Iris and Nia. Okay, so I'll give the floor to you guys. I want you guys to really use this time to persuade these people right here why they should vote for you and why you are a suitable candidate. So my first question will be regarding personal motivation and competence, starting off with Taishi and Maksym, and we will be giving 2 microphones to them when I'm over with this question. So the question is just an introductory question. What unique qualities do you bring to this role? What specific skills, so what concrete experience makes you the best candidate for this position? So I give the floor to you guys, and you have maximum of 5 minutes. Here you go.
Hello everyone, my name is Max and here's my vice candidate Taishi. I'm from Ukraine, from the city of Odessa, and I see my person as a communicative one and who knows how to reach his goals. And one of the goals is to make the PPE society strive, namely the PPE overall program to strive, and namely through the proper student engagement. And yes, here the VP society comes. And as far as I can see, I have the relevant experience to do this. Namely, in my student cell government, I solved very huge problems that it wasn't active. And after I came to the office, it started to work properly. It's about the professional experience in the area of reforming the student organizations, and also regarding the community engagement. I was an international delegate and EYP Germany session. I participated in 1 week philosophical seminar in Austria by Aspen Institute Kyiv. I'm also the participant of the debate union, and as far as I can see, I have a very solid in the community engagement, in team communication, and I think that all this makes me suitable for the role of the president.
Hi, I'm Taishi. I'll be his vice. And in my high school time, I was in the student government and I also did some SDG volunteer work. But I think above experience is the personality. I'm very extroverted. I care about everyone. I have no beef with everyone. I like to see this program go more forward, for everyone to be more friendly, for there to be a sense of community. That's why I'm running for this position. I want PPE society to be great. Thank you.
Okay, now passing the microphones to Sophie and Liz. You may proceed.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sophie Gall. I'm also a first-year PPE student from the United States. And I do think I have the personality for this. I think I'm a very energetic person. I do care a lot. And I think my strength lies in making other people care. I want you to be excited about events. I want to bring out the energy and excitement in you all. I know it can be hard. Classes are draining. Life is draining. But I really want y'all to have a good time at our events and all things PPE, but I also do have the relevant concrete experience to lead this program. I have been very involved in my high school, student body president, honor society president, speech team captain. I can list if you want, but I don't think that's relevant. I think what's more relevant is the actual concrete things that I've done. I've created and ran a career fair with 25 federal agencies out in Washington, D.C., and I think that gives me the concrete skills to coordinate y'all. I'm not sure though, federal agency workers are kind of unwieldy, but so can PPE students. So I think I have the energy, excitement, and enthusiasm to be your president.
My name's Liz, and oh, there we go. And sorry? Oh yeah. Yeah. All right, okay, there we go now. My name's Liz. I also think that I have the personality to be the president. I love to talk to people. I've yapped to most of you guys when I look around. I care about this program. I really want, like, I've been waiting to study PPE for 3 years now. I chose this program because I wanted that interdisciplinarity. I also wanted a good social life. I want the clubs to function. I want there to be an all-around experience. And this is also, I have qualifications for that. I've been the the class representative, as I think a lot of PPE students have. I've been the student body president at my school. Where I had organized events. We've organized fundraisers for the student community, for the student community, like a Christmas bazaar, which ended up like the funds going to a charity. We had an advent calendar. It was more like, it was fun events, and then also like in more serious concerns that the students had were communicated to the principal, which I think is a strength of mine, that I'm quite good with communication. I'm not scared of confrontation, so I'm willing to bring up complaints and be the funnel for that. And I think combined with Sophie, we run a good ship.
Hi, I'm Nia. I'm from Georgia. And I would say that me and Iris are both really responsible people. and we're glad that we are even considered as candidates, and we're really happy to be doing this. And I would say that my experiences have shaped me into the person I am right now, and it's probably one of the reasons why I'm running, because I've been class president twice. I was class president in 11th grade. I was re-elected in 12th grade because I actually know how to bring students' voices to people who actually care and who can actually solve the issues. I was also the vice president of Young Journalists Club, so I know how to keep the voices and news transparent and actually truthful. I would also say, since one of the campaigns we have is about charity and giving it to people, I have the experience of hosting a charity event when earthquake hit Turkey, and I've also hosted a charity event for cancer survivors. For Turkey, we raised 150,000 liras, and I feel like that experience truly shows how I can bring people together for a good cause and how I am a good candidate for the fundraiser, for the government itself, because I truly have the experience.
Hi, I'm Iris. I'm a very passionate person. I'm very dedicated to this program. As Nia said, we're very happy to be here. We really like this program, and we're really just happy to be considered to be able to make a positive change. This is a great experience. I've been in the student body many times. I've been a member, I've been a treasurer, and I've held the vice position for 1 year. And that really gave me the experience that I need to be here and to be able to do this position and excel in it. I love this position specifically because of course, there's the creative and passionate aspect of bringing initiatives and programs that you would like to see and making change, and having the power to do that is great. But I also am good with the more tedious things. I'm very good at organizing and planning, and I can actually make these things happen and make them a reality. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for introducing yourselves. We proceed to question number 2, which is about engagement and just community building. So my second question is, what strategies do you have for increasing engagement and participation within our society? Or more concretely, how will you make this realistic and achievable? Start out with.
Okay, regarding this question, how we make the PP society work and how it can be even achievable. As far as I can see, now we can see that the PP society events are not so frequent, and the events of the clubs under the PP society umbrella are not frequent. The calendar is not properly communicated, and all these events are not on Instagram, not on WhatsApp. There's a huge problem. And first, our step, how we'll recover all this thing is that we recover already existing clubs initiatives, namely hiking, for example. It was happening before, but we don't see that it's happening right now so much. And we'll recover the already existing clubs, and only after that we believe that we can found some new initiatives. We will recover the already existing clubs, and so as to make it real, so as to make it achievable, we will ensure the proper communication of the events through Instagram, through WhatsApp, through Gmail, and so on. Therefore, we'll ensure that the events happen frequently. You want to attend these events, and they are communicated effectively, that you know that they really happen.
As members of Prague Elite would know, I do organize a lot of, let's say, social drinking events, etc. I am friends with a great many of you. We went out, on the pub, etc. a lot of times, and many of the times I chose the places, and that also means, which I know each and every one of you, what kind of social events you guys like. I cater to different kind of personalities, different kind of people. So just imagine that, but on a program basis. I think would be great. I would DM each and single one of you to come to every event. I'll notify you, as he said. So yes, that's my answer. Thank you.
All right, right, okay. Events, I think, are very central, and I think what our strength lies in is that we are really realistic about it. Because I think there is already so much like great motivation to get events started. I mean, Mia organized the field trip to get to Terezin. And I think I think it's not only about just creating events, but about promoting the ideas that people have anyways and making that possible. And I think like the most important thing is strengthening communication. Our concrete idea that we add to the table is a anonymous forum where it's not your name behind it, but you can bring up complaints, you can bring up ideas, and we will act upon it. So it is very much concrete ideas, concrete events. If you've seen our video, we talk about the mushroom picking, for example. We want to have some cultural events. We want to embrace a bit of Czech culture. We're asking for the help of our Slovak and Czech people in the course. So it's really about like implementing the strength that we already have in an international program and like harnessing that what already is there and using the potential.
And I think to get engagement, yes, Instagram is a great tool and online is a great tool, but I think the first step is being excited about them ourselves. We're very excited about these events that we would like to implement and that people are already implementing these great ideas we have in the program. I think just hearing word of mouth and hearing your friends talk about events gets people wanting to go to events. So I think that's the first step that it takes to get PPE actually engaged and social and to make this a community.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like I think also like combining second years and first years in that regard as well. We will be the second years, and the word of mouth of us now travels down to the first years. So the excitement that we can instill in you can travel down to the next first years. So yeah, pretty much that's it.
Okay, about people engaging in the events, my opinion is that people are not lazy. It's not that they don't want to do it. They just don't have something designed for themselves. And our whole goal and our campaign goal is to create everything that suits people, that solves their problems. That's why we introduced 4 main initiatives. Of course, we're going to have something else too during our presidency, I hope. And 4 of those are Think Tank, Annual Summit, Career Accelerator, and Football Club. Football Club was, as you all know, inspired by our own friends who played every Sunday. And the concerns about volleyball club being there, but football club not being there. And I feel like when people express their passion and their interest in something, it should be valued and it should be inspirable, so someone does something for them. So I feel like I know we have a plan. I know we have a concrete plan, step by step. In our program and vision, you can see how it clearly goes and how smoothly it goes, starting from choosing the venue of the football club, ending with already having a guest lecturer for Career Accelerator. And I will talk about Career Accelerator now. Career Accelerator will help people with their CVs, because I feel like main concern of PPE is not getting internships, not getting any help professionally with CVs. We don't know how to stand out. In the pool of thousands of Czech people, how can an international student stand out when she or he doesn't know Czech at all? So Career Accelerator, we already have the guest lecturer who's going to come, host an event, and teach everyone how to stand out in their CVs.
Our other 2 initiatives are the PPE Think Tank and the PPE Annual Summit. So I'll start with the Think Tank. Basically, we have monthly meetings where students can come and whatever idea you have, you can write about. We've agreed with the Karlovian that you can publish on their platform. And it's essentially just an open space for students to take the content that they're learning in class and through their courses and actually making it into something tangible besides an assignment or an essay that really only your professor is going to see. So that will help engagement with the society because it's making a real tangible use of all the work that we do that for the most part doesn't get a lot of recognition. And the PPE Annual Summit, we have a list of guest speakers that we can arrange for to come in. It's basically us in a circle engaging and meeting this professional in whatever discipline they're in. And it's an excellent opportunity to network and also engage with each other. And it's also a social event, and there's a social incentive there. You're meeting with your classmates, with your peers, and expressing your ideas and making kind of a use of all the work that we do in our program. Thank you.
Thank you for answering. My third question is kind of related to the previous one, but it's more now concrete, and I need you to talk about, if elected, what would be your first major initiative and why would that be the case? Okay.
What about our first initiatives? As far as I can see, to somehow to make this initiative, we need to have people in the PPE society, and there's a very large problem. Although there are effective, for example, communications officer and the treasurer, they want to remain. However, there is a lack of people who organize events and also cope with all this communication. And first of all, what we'll do, we will not fully renew the team, but implement a new site, new people in the PPE society organizational structure. Also, along with inviting people there, how we'll do this. There will be a special forum for all of you, each of you who wants to organize events, who wants to run for the communications officer, and so on. You can make it through the respective form, and we'll do it. Yes, and if you're interested, you can be a part of our team. And also, what we will do simultaneously with that, as prescribed by the Constitution, will provide the consultations with the previous head office of the PPE Society to understand fully the situation which is right now happening there. We already had, but it's better to have more and more information about it. And the same way, the consultations will be made with the clubs, the already existing clubs, how to improve them. I also say that we already had them, but on more official level, I think it would be more effective as well.
I don't know about you guys, but when I first came to this university, I was really disappointed with the lack of clubs and also their inactivity. I do not like how so many of these clubs, they're just made, formed, and never organize anything. So I would ensure a system where each club would need to have some kind of activity. And there's already some few upcoming clubs in next year, which I'm talking about. For example, with for example, Francesco, he's planning on making a diplomatic society where we would be going to embassies, etc., and visiting and gaining real work experience. But aside from that, I do want to also up the amount of events we have and also cater to differing tastes, because not everyone enjoys drinking or talking to people. There can be many events like, like hiking, running, etc. So that's my plan. Thank you.
I think our first initiative would be fairly similar, because I think that all three of the teams know and understand the kind of organizational chaos that the society is in currently. So I think our first, at least internal initiative, would be to have a giant meeting with everybody who currently works for the PPE Society, the two of us, the club leaders, consolidate everybody who is in a position of power and kind of get the lowdown and understand what we need to do and what the clubs need to do. As Taishi and Maksym have already said, there was a lack of clubs when we came here, and are they active? We don't know. Kind of a clear communication basis in a giant meeting forum is what we need. And then hopefully we can go from there and establish and kind of sit down with everybody, the coordination officer, our whole team that we'll have established at this point, and plan the whole semester, or at least the giant events of the semester. That's the big planning things need to happen right away, because otherwise they won't happen at all.
Exactly, like, oh, excuse me. And then also externally, so this is the internal plan for what we need to do behind the scenes in a leadership position, get a committee together. And then externally, the first question that we're going to ask is, what do you want? Like, what do you want from this new presidency? What have you been unhappy with? I know I don't know how many second-year people are here. I think this is mainly about first years. Adam as well. Yes, hey. But I think most people here are first years. And you've been here for 1 year, people have been here for 2 years, and we want to hear what has gone wrong, what have been your complaints, what do you wish would be different. So that's going to be the first question that we pose externally. And then we will assess how much is realistically possible, what steps can we realistically take. We inform ourselves about the budget we have and about those limitations, and then we would organize the upcoming months in like as soon as possible. Thank you.
Our first initiative would be to start implementing 2 of the 4 that we have. So we would first implement the think tank, because basically we've designed it and we've planned everything out that it can be just started pretty much immediately if we're elected. We just have to start hosting monthly meetings, and we've already arranged everything with the Karlovian. We also want to start the football club right away.
And for a football club, as I said before, we already have a venue. We already have people who are ready to play every Sunday, who are excited about the tournament. And other than that, I would say when me and Iris started to do this and when we started to plan it out, I would say I'm a pretty controlling person in a way. I love to plan everything in advance. I love to have plan B, plan C, plan everything. And we had some other ideas, but when we looked at it and when we realized it's not realistic, this will not work, we kind of were left with this 4 main initiatives. And I just want to say that everything is planned out really carefully, step by step. And another one, as we said, football club and think tank will be implemented right away. But career accelerator is something more sensitive, I would say, than a sport, because it's an internship. It's a really big problem on PPE, and I want to make sure that it's planned out carefully, because when someone comes, I want it to be an actual useful information. So I cannot promise to start off career accelerator from the day 1, but of course we're going to take steps towards it to start it off from the start. And yeah, I feel like we have a plan, and if you just look at our vision, you can see everything step by step, and I think that's our advantage.
Okay, thank you so much. And if I may add a little bit of personal here as well, whoever gets elected for this new presidency, I would love to see more transparency in work and a bigger synthesis, because later I will be talking about the club which I am a representative of, which is the Debate Union, and one of the rare clubs that has to deal within our fields of studies. And I think it's amazing, and that it promotes just open-mindedness, promotes critical thinking skills, and we'll get to it later, but I would just like to see more a bigger synthesis and just more collaboration in that side, so that it doesn't have to go through all of these professors. So thank you for these questions. So my 4th question now, which was a question that will be phrased now and delivered to you to see how you think on the spot, will be, so I think we all see this recurring pattern that whenever we have a presidency, we tend not to have a good handover. So my question now would be, how will you ensure continuity after your term ends, so that all these amazing ideas and initiatives and goals and aims that you have in mind and that you've presented to the whole room today will have a lasting impact? I could give you a minute, because this is on the spot. I could give you a minute to think about it, and then we can start with Maksym and Taishi. Whenever you're ready. So to repeat the question, once again so that we make sure that we follow the code of conduct that I've presented to you, which is directly answered the question, is how will you ensure continuity after your term ends so that your initiative has a lasting impact?
Okay, first of all, what I want to say that the PPE Society events, the communication will be already built properly in the end of our cadence. And how I'll ensure that this will ensure the lasting impact. First of all these first years and our peers second years, I don't know, maybe they also will want to be the president, vice president next year. We'll involve them in the work of the PPE Society, particularly through the communicational channels that I stated before. First, namely, we involve all the students already right now, therefore they understand the structure of the society, how it works, what are the issues, and etc. Therefore, the transition will be smooth. And in order to make it more smoothly, surely, according to the Constitution, we'll provide all the required consultations for this moving period. And regarding the first point, when people are already in the PPE Society, they understand, yes, its problems, its issues, but they already understand what they can bring more insights, more new events and so on. Therefore, they already will have their ideas. And when our cadence ends and when there starts, these events will be organized smoothly and everything will be effective.
Well, firstly, there will be a transition period of when the current presidency switches to the new one. And we've already talked with Ryan, the current president, on multiple occasions, and we will continue to do so because I would not say that like we know everything ins and outs. I would say that all of us are still foggy on many stuff. So definitely the smooth transition would first be learning from the previous administration, what went wrong, what went right. And also we would like to plan all the events in advance. So like the Freshers Week, etc., would already start to get in motion. All the venues, where it's going to be, etc., will already be deciding in the upcoming months. So that ensures that we have time to make things right and we get input from the previous administration.
So as far as I'm concerned, the question was, how can you ensure a smooth transition after your term? Okay, so we would ensure a smooth transition first and foremost by keeping good records and keeping good notes. I know this sounds so lame, but it's so hard to take over a position of power if you are given no guidebook, no instructions, and no rules. So I think if Liz and I were to take the presidency, we would keep good records of all of the contacts of these people that we bring in for these fun events, or of these venues, the people we talk to at the venues. Just keeping this written down so that it's easy to pass on to the next president and so that it's easy to continue the tradition of these events and they don't have to start all over from scratch.
Exactly. So that is on the records. Also, what's already been started by the current president, Ryan, is getting a committee of people together, of strict administration, a treasurer, someone that keeps these records. I know that Mia has been doing it, and Anastasia from second year has been doing it. Ryan said that this has been working great, and it's about finding reliable people because, I mean, you cannot run a whole program, just the two of us. And we've asked people to continue their term in the administration to the next one. Also, it is really about realizing, so for taking over the next presidential position, we would try to find people that would be willing to guide these new presidents also in the next term of presidency. So there is a team already there that is working behind the scenes, and the president then can interact with them. Also, I mean, in ideal case, there has been some familiarity with PPE Society by that point, which is one of our big goals. So keep a constant committee, make them reliable, and create these positions that can last.
Our way of ensuring that we have a lasting impact on PP is to make our initiatives and our programs a separate entity from us, in a sense, that we give them as much support, funding, whatever that they need, and as well as like appointing presidents and members that can actually organize things. That would be the best way to ensure that they actually function and that they actually can go on even when we leave, that we aren't even necessary by the end of our presidency, that they exist on their own and that they are so successful and helpful to students that they continue going on.
Okay, when we started doing this, it's really important to choose one word that you want to circle around. And I truly believe in that and that it helped us throughout this. And we chose two words that were important to us, which was opportunity and which was long lasting as a word. And all four of our initiatives apply to that. All four give you the opportunity and all four are long lasting. Because when you have a big problem on the program that needs to be resolved and you actually introduce something that resolves it, nobody wants to get it away. They want to keep it forever. And since these new initiatives are new and haven't been introduced before, I want to make sure that they work and they resolve all the problems so future presidents will keep it. And for the smooth transition, we already have we have to talk to Ryan for 2 weeks. We have this transition period that we would for sure keep to help students with it. And also we do have a constitution, but at the end, they don't really give us much information about what we can do and what we cannot do. Of course, we know the basics, but there is so much going on in PPE society. It's not registered as an organization. There are so much limitations that you cannot really ask someone to more than the society allows you to. So I would make sure that they know all the rules that I can possibly tell them to, because right now I would say we were kind of confused before we met Ryan, because the Constitution doesn't really give you everything that you should know. Thank you.
Thank you guys for answering. These were all the questions from my side, and thank you for being assertive and direct about it. That's a big plus. So now what I will do is that I will open the floor to the audience to ask them questions. The microphones will be passed around, but before that, for the people who are joining us from MS Teams, yeah, you can hear me, but if you do have any questions, be sure to write them down and I can later see it and then ask the candidates. So passing on the mic. Who wants to ask a question? Can we get one there?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So my question is more practical, I guess, in a way. None of you mentioned your financial plans because it's good to organize a lot of events and all these motivation ideas are always nice, but usually they've been clashed by reality and by the opportunities and like what society can actually do. For example, the funding is sometimes very limited and unfortunately the practice, I'm a second year, so the practice has shown that people will come mostly if everything is being covered or most things are being covered financially because we're all students and none of us, like not everyone has financial ability to attend things that, for example, require money. So my question is that how are you guys planning to do so?
Do you want this to be answered jointly? I mean, team by team? Okay, okay. Can I get your mic?
Okay, regarding questions, thank you for very much for this question. And first, I want to know that not all the events or the PP site need the funding. For example, to go somewhere to the park and lose up and eat something with, for example, as it was the freshest week, as far as I remember, or not to bring the food from your culture. Here, you don't need any funding, and therefore not all the events of the PPE Society will need it. But if talking about those which will need, for example, it is planned to have 4 events per semester, which are a bit little, and at least 1 major event. We, as far as I remember, Ryan said that we usually have 80,000 crowns per each year. And previous years, there wasn't any problem with funding allocation. And as far as I can see, this year also won't be. And yes, I also want to note one more time that not all events need to be funded by the society.
Yes, as my colleague said, basically our program, we didn't write down many things which would need money, because we heard from Ryan how basically the whole PPE society barely gets any funding. And that's why we're thinking of diversifying more into stuff which is free but fun at the same time. So for example, hiking, picnic with bringing your own stuff. But at the same time, I do want to stress how if we do get elected, or the number 1 issue would be in resolving the funding more clearly. Because as of now, what I heard from President Ryan is that even the staff of the PP, they don't disclose of like how much funding there is, and there's a lot of gaps between the professors and the students. So one of the methods would be to establish a more clear connection and more transparency between the professor and the students.
All right. So there is a set budget. As if I remember correctly, the number is a bit different than what Maksym said. But there is a set budget. But the big events take up, like for example, Freshers Week, especially in the first semester, take up almost like more than half of the budget usually. We've informed ourselves about this, so there is that issue. We're aware of that, and I think the way to combat it is understand early on how much each event costs. We have done so. We have talked to Ryan. We have talked to people and looked at venues. We understand the pricing of each, which is why we were going to make realistic promises, and we're going to stay within these boundaries, because we know like it is just venues are so expensive and there is just very little we can do, which is why we need to prioritize very clearly, and especially first semester with that. And I think it's long-term planning, is being aware of what's bound to come, which we're prepared for, and then planning those budget restrictions in early, so no one has any false expectations. People know what they're going to get. And for example, for things like if we're going to a park, there will be prices. There will be prices for transportation if there's like excursions, or for the park for snacks. But that is a budget that we'll be able to plan in. So free snacks, we will be able to fund for events, making them more accessible. We will plan that in early on and communicate it directly.
And I think this is where Liz and I's strengths show. Thank you for the question, by the way. This is a really good practical question. But we already have contacts of people that we have plans with. So like the mushroom picking event, we have personal contacts here who are willing and able to do that. And we're paying them for their time, but that doesn't take very much of the budget, which is helpful. And branching off of these personal connections, we know people in the Faculty of Sport and the Faculty of Law who know how to plan events and who have expertise in these events they already have. So I think it's, yes, learning from people within our own program and the president here, but also seeing what we can take from other programs and how they use their budget and how they have these workarounds and can use their funds to maximize their practicability, truly.
Okay, about the funding, we were asked similar question for Karlovian, and we know it's a problem. We know it's a big problem to get an actual funding and to be able to control this budget. But I feel like Treasurer really helps with that, because the person can help you and tell you how much you have left in the budget. And I feel like all the initiatives we have, there will be social events, of course. There will be Freshers Week, which will, as Liz said, takes most of the budget. But for think tank, publishing through Karlovian, contacting our partner universities, doesn't take much of your budget. Maybe a guest professor requires some, but I think that we planned this out carefully. And for football club, there's a field near Veshem, near Stadium Strahov, that we want to get for the football club. But if that doesn't work out, we can get the field from sports faculty, which is Charles University, which will not take a lot of our funding because volleyball team already goes there. So if this Stadion Strahov field will propose a problem, we already have plan B for it. So I think we're doing pretty well with the budget and pretty well with the planning of it. Thank you.
As I've mentioned, I was treasurer as well, and I had a much smaller budget, which is not easy. So I have experience in planning things out very, very, very carefully. And also the unfortunate reality is having to expect to pay out of pocket for certain things. We were warned by the ex-presidents that that is just a reality, and we are willing to do that, or having to be willing to do that if you are running for president and vice. So we are prepared. We have planned extensively, excuse me, and we know how to get around with this budget and promise and give everything that we promised. Thank you.
Does this answer your question? Yeah, okay. Okay, I open the floor again to people who want to ask questions. Okay, Zilala? It was, sorry, Adrian, it was Lola firstly, then we can give the floor to Yaroslav.
Thank you so much. Everyone can hear me. Yeah. I also wanted like some kind of elaboration on like Samira's question, because so there will be several clubs, and how the funding will be distributed between the clubs, because Maksym mentioned that some events, like some clubs, may not need some kind of funding. Wouldn't it create some kind of selective approach, like it will be like selective funding, because even for some kind of cultural events, we need funding for some kind of ingredients or maybe food or advertising and stuff. So how will you distribute the money between the clubs that you have?
Okay, do you want this answered by a particular team, or do you want them all to give you
It would be really good, like if everyone could answer, and also if the team of Maksym and Taishi elaborate more on their selective funding stuff.
Okay, I will, however, need to time limit this, so you'll have a maximum of 2 minutes for this question, because we're running out of time.
So the way I would deal with this is basically it goes back to what I first said of there's many clubs which are just empty. They just create something and they just go inactive. So the first step I would say is that like the clubs which organize these events, which request funds, would actually need to have like a sufficient enough participation, because I think that right now basically no clubs are functioning to its like maximum capability. And while it may seem like bias, I think that how it would work is allocating funds to an event which brings the most people, therefore ensuring that this fund is more fair than to a club which only has few members. So they would need to like show in advance who's coming, etc.
Yes, I also want to add that I won't name it as a selective funding. I'll rather name it as a funding on need, because we'll have a calendar with all the written events. It will be planned beforehand which events we'll have, and therefore there won't be any problem on planning how to fund these events, because they are already planned.
Okay. We discussed free events, and I don't really agree with the fact that labeling event free, but saying that you bring your own food is kind of not logical, because someone is already paying for that food. When we said cultural and they bring their own cultural food, they are paying for that. So I would say it doesn't make it free. And for us, the answer would be simple, that of course some clubs require more than the other. For a football club, I would say one field is like 30 euros per day. So of course it will not require as much as guest professor would ask us. So I feel like it depends on what you're doing and what the activity is about. Because when it's professional, where it's about like perfecting your CV, that specific person may ask us more than us paying 30 euros for a football field. So I feel like funding is planned out really well right now, and every club will get as much as they truly need. Thank you.
I think we need to assess what clubs will there be. You're right. With a tight budget, it becomes difficult. There will be some prioritization necessary. That is clear. On the other side, in my experience with, for example, Debate Union, and also before, if you have a concrete plan and introduce that to the professors as well that are handling the budget, which is something that like we as presidents would take over, they're willing to put that effort in. I mean, you've seen Salomon talk about the program. He's very motivated about this program, and he's willing to give the support that is necessary. So they're willing to put in those words. I believe it is about pushing clubs to just have a structured plan and a structured use for the budget, and then that will be possible. Not to say that there won't be prioritization, because there will have to be. But I think with a realistic and good, well-structured approach, that will be possible.
I would agree with everything you said there. And I think it doesn't hinge so much on numbers and participation, because speaking from experience, I know it can be difficult to gauge participation. So if you're dealing with a budget, it can be hard to give a budget in order or because of how many people said they were going to show up to something. I think that's kind of a convoluted way to go about doling out a budget. So I think, yes, it requires a structured plan. And if 2 people show up or 20 people show up, then so be it. You've got the budget already. It doesn't really hinge on the participation.
Due to time management, I can only open the floor to one member of the audience now, and it needs to be addressed to a particular team. Okay, Yaroslav? And before you do that, as I've noticed, there are no questions on MS Teams. So after you're done with your question and the particular team is done with answering it, you guys will be able to pose a question to an opposing team. Only one, and there will be a time limitation for that. So you can start thinking of your questions. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a question to the team of Nia and Iris. I'm really interested in your internship initiative because it's quite complicated to implement because as you mentioned, PPE students are quite different from Czech people, Czech students that we see around, and they require kind of individual approach. And as far as I understand this initiative, you plan to help everyone on some collective basis. Could you explain how this internship initiative would work in practice? Thank you.
And you have 2 minutes for that, no longer.
Okay, for the career accelerator, we have a plan for that. And I'm currently an experience manager at ISAC. And with internships and with CVs, it truly helps in a way that, as me and Iris already said, we have a person who's a recruiter. She's a, I would say, pretty successful recruiter who does CVs as her job, and she has already agreed to come. And our initiative about Career Accelerator is to bring people who actually help with CVs, who will actually help us stand out. Because I feel like kind of majoring in 3 subjects already gives you such a big opportunity from others and makes you already stand out. But at the same time, we're not Czech. I understand that, and that may be a big problem when you're applying for a job. But our initiative is to bring people who help with CVs, who help with workshops we're going to hold, and who will share experience about how they got specific internships. So it's all about people sharing their own experience and helping us with it.
We're also just increasing the accessibility of PPE students to these opportunities because they're there. It's okay. Because they're there. Like Nia's company also offers internships, so we already have one connection that, you know, you have one person there already, and we plan to expand that, reach out to more companies, talk to more recruiters, and just expose PPE students to these companies and internships directly. And the structure of it is we have these recruiters come as a guest speaker, so you can also network and make those connections yourself. Does that answer your question? Great, thank you.
Okay, and now for probably the most interesting part, I'm going to give the floor to the debaters themselves to ask the one opposing team a question they would want to know an answer to. So first of all, we'll start with Maksym and Taishi. And while answering, please, because this, I don't want this to get intense in a way that we get disrespectful towards each other. So please do have in mind the code of conduct that I've previously mentioned, and do have in mind the time limitation, which is 2 minutes to answer. Sorry? Overall, one question. Yeah.
So I have the question to Nia and Iris's group. It's about the football club. So I don't know if you guys know this, but football club has been attempted to be made on many occasions, and the other faculties they previously have said no to giving their faculty for use of football, etc. And as President Ryan said, the university is not willing to give like 30 euros or something every week or every month for an event which only has, let's say, 10 people. So I want to know how would you guys change what's already existing, the Sunday football?
It doesn't have 10 people. It has, I don't know, 20 or 30, I think, which is plenty of people to start up something and for it to count as an interest. Thank you, Mert. Yeah, about the sports, we already have the volleyball club who's playing at the sports faculty fields. So we already have that figured out. And I think when you label it as something that PPE students have interest in, and it's something they truly want to do, it can work out. And I assume in previous years, there was not much interest, because if people had interest, if people played every Sunday, I'm sure that society wouldn't say no. So I think this year having big interest, and when people have interest in something, it should be achieved and something should be done with it.
Thank you for the good answer.
Okay, Nia and Iris pose the question now to the, or sorry, you can do Sophie and Liz, whatever.
Okay, we have a question to Maksym and Tai. We wanted to ask for you guys to explain again how you're a good team and how you work well together. So yeah, that would be like the question for you.
Okay, how we work together. A very interesting question. Thank you very much for that. And indeed, it is a very significant question because on our teamwork, the PPE society will depend much. And I'm a person who has much experience in the crisis management of such societies. Taishi has, as I said, two personalities in him, namely this all the lose up clubs and so on, and serious man who knows how to manage things. And therefore, I think we have this synergy. And by the way, maybe it was 3 months ago, we participated in the debate of the PPE Debate Union. It was the first debate, and I think we worked well. And by the way, here in the PPE side, we also have the division of labor, and we already worked on our vision, on our video scenario, and so on together. And I don't see any problems with our teamwork. Moreover, we do it very effectively, I assume.
And I think in actuality, like, we do have a ton of differences, but I think that's what makes it stronger rather than like just having like people who think alike, because then you would have more differing views on the up top, you know. And like, it's even like our political program, like he's full Ukrainian, I'm half Russian, but we get along. So I think this is kind of like a, you know, like it's like a sign, I say. Yeah.
My question will be for Liz and Sophie. I want to know, since your campaign, I would say, is mostly socially based and about social activities, I want to know, do you guys already have a plan for how to help people academically and professionally? Do you have any concrete plan for it?
This is something that, like, obviously we would like to have a career advisor. Like this would be the goal. Out of talking to former presidents and former leadership positions, it has proven to be quite difficult to get these people implemented because they do require quite the fund. So this is something that, like, obviously is on our horizon. We would be very interested in like creating those career opportunities. However, in our campaign, we really want to focus on tangible goals and things that we know we can, from our perspective, get through, which is why the Faculty of Law is going to be interesting, because they have like quite a well existing program to get more social, like get those social circumstances, together. And a career advisor like that we would need to see in conversation with the university and with the professors. We're not currently in the position to find out how possible that is. That will be on our roster, but we didn't see ourselves in a position to give that as a promise.
In conjunction with everything Liz said, I think it's also important to not negate the benefits of just being social within the program and beyond the program. You never know who knows someone who has an internship or works at this cool company or can connect you with someone that is also doing something that you would be interested in. So I think it's important not to negate the importance of being social with people your own age. And it's not just these career advisors or these recruiters who can find you things. You can go out and meet people who also can find you those opportunities and those internships. And that's something that we can promise, that you can meet new people, and hopefully those will lead to new opportunities for you too.
Okay, everyone, so we've heard them, and we encourage you to reflect on what we've heard today and just make an informed decision when it comes to voting. Voting starts on March 30th, and it's going to be a 40-hour time period, and it's going to be online. So really do delve into what they said here and make an informed decision. And now, so I think we like really thank you for answering this. Thank you for being respectful towards each other. Yeah, thank you. This went surprisingly well. And I think you really showcased here the power of thoughtful discourse and just critical thinking and persuasive argumentation. So now I would like to encourage you all to be a part of the debate union. So I'm going to present the debate union now. It's a very ambitious student-led club here at PPE, and it's a debating club. It's Oxford style, as Solomon would wish. And it's led by me, but I'm also part of the organizing committee of 6 dedicated first-year PPE students, and amongst which are some of the debaters today. And we've had several meetings. We know what we want, and we really think that I find it very interesting and kind of at the same time weird that there are no such clubs that would engage within our field of studies. So we're doing politics, philosophy, and economics, and public speaking is kind of essential. So within the debate union, we really hope and strive to enhance critical thinking, persuasion, open-mindedness, and just enforce these public speaking skills, because that's something that we will need either if you decide to pursue your career later on related to politics. Public speaking is essential there. And just for day-to-day life, for everyday life, it's very important and crucial to know how to speak. And as a prominent figure once said, if you know how to speak, you know how to do everything. And I think that is partially true, and that good public speaking can open doors for you that some other things cannot, like degrees. So I would really like to encourage you all to attend our mandatory workshop in 2 weeks, and it will be a topic. Guys, can you help me out? It's a very interesting topic.
Can AI ever achieve consciousness is going to be the topic of the broad debate. We're going to prepare the articles. We're going to bring some of our information to the workshop. Feel free to attend. It's going to be a friendly environment. We're going to have a little discussion, split up the group in half, and then see what we can get with a little debate. So yeah, that's going to be about the workshop, AI and consciousness.
Yeah, so we're really here to help you, and also we're in a learning process ourselves. I've debated for the past 4 years of my life in high school and have reached a national level. But still, I think we can all be included. And I really believe in this vision. This is why I would be devoting my precious time to it, and all of the members of the organizing committee. So I really encourage you to come attend this workshop. And I want to conclude this with really saying, like, immensely thank you to the participants for being so respectful towards each other, and thank you for providing us with the insights and providing us with more information that you might have not said on the campaign, like videos and just proposals, because there was a limit towards it. So thank you very much. Can we get a round of applause? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you to the audience. You guys were very respectful and just posed some really good questions. And thank you for devoting your time to this today. So applause for you as well. Thank you. Then I would like to thank the Karlovian, because they helped us with all the technicalities, and they are the ones filming this debate, which we will have access to. Thank you to Petr Specijan for also helping us out in this process. Thank you to the debate union. Thank you for the organizing committee. My name is Emilia Bogdanovic, and thank you for being here today. It was a pleasure to moderate. Thank you. Thank you.